record, but he has played very well, bowled very well, hung in there both matches down, won both matches. Now he'll take on a player making his first televised appearance in Donald Breihan, so it's going to be interesting. Lone lefty in the field. Hold a little bit.
You know, we've had a lot of crossover strikes, and I'm sure that Don would rather put it in the 1-2 pocket, but he's going to take that.
Looking a little bit from the left side. Pappas averaging 211 for the first 2 games on this demanding lane condition.
Is George getting comfortable out there? Boy, his stroke is much better than it was earlier. Especially in the first match, he was just feeling his way through. And you give a player with the amount of years on tour and the wins that this man has had, give him a little bit of a break here and there. Starts becoming more comfortable, feeling better about his chances.
Well, the general certainly taken charge of this tournament so far. Dave Sutar, tournament leader. That was a member of ABC Hall of Fame in 1989. A little fidgety at first, but
going for an early double. Well, that was left, and leaves himself the 6, the 9, and the 10.
Pappas now trying to pick up the 6, 9, 10.
Hard and straight, that ball has to hook a little bit. It's right off his hand and gets the 10 pin, but the 6 and the 9 are still standing. And
so Pappas with an open in the second frame, and we get a good look. Mark Gerbic, the commissioner on the left. There's Roger Dalkin, ABC executive director, good friend of bowling.
Certainly has been. Boy, George just does not want to give Breihan that type of an opening early.
Breihan now just the 10 pin. So he started off with a Brooklyn and now just leaves the 10 pin. Retired director of the Internal Revenue Service. Loves traveling, especially to Europe. However, we don't have a tournament in Europe yet. Could happen.
Well, we've been there in the past. Could go back again.
Trying to pick up the spare and take the early lead in this semifinal match.
Takes care of it. Admittedly, Don Breihan talked to him earlier this morning and talking with him throughout the tournament. He has been very nervous. He's never found himself in this position before. Certainly did not come here thinking that he was probably going to be bowling on national television, but has handled himself very, very well and taken advantage of situations when they present themselves.
Breihan up in the 3rd frame. And
somebody is watching out for Don Breihan as the 3 pins were there and then 3 pins weren't there. Well, we'll take a look at the ball coming in light into the 1-2 pocket. There goes the 6 and the 5 and the reaction of Breihan. Oh, sure, I knew I had it all the way.
Safe and then touchdown or something. I don't know. Pappas up in the 3rd.
Coming in high, leaving the 4 pin. Still not time for George to panic. He knows there's plenty of frames left to go. George not getting as fortuitous a roll off the pins as Mr. Breihan had.
Picks up the spare in the 3rd frame. So strike, open spare for Pappas, and Breihan with a strike, spare, strike to start the semifinal match. But George has been down in the previous 2 matches.
He's come back both times when it looked like he was in big trouble. Left lane has given him more trouble than the right. Hard time finding the pocket. Through the nose again. 3, 6, and 10.
You've been telecasts where things aren't working right. I'm sure you have a few times. How mentally it's got to be different.
Well, it's real tough, but the one advantage that he has on this condition is that he knows the scores aren't going to be very high. So if you just sort of hang in there, you still have a chance. But it's also easy to shoot 150, so big spare for Pappas. Interesting, he did not play cross alley. He went down the edge of the lane to make the 3-6-10.
All the shots in the bag for Pappas, because usually you cross over, don't you?
Well, the reason that he did that is because he knew the ball wouldn't hook out there. That's why they're not playing the outside line. As Breihan's up, going for the double.
And Breihan with the double and the early lead here in this semifinal match. Breihan working on a double.
It looks good. The 10-pin does not fall. Best shot he's made on lane 25, and it's the first time he hasn't struck on it. Had the Brooklyn strike in the first frame, then he tripped out the bucket in the third frame. You can see the ball coming in a little bit light, but boy, almost gets that 10-pin out.
Pick up the spare here in the fifth.
Nicely converted. Nothing fancy about the way he bowls, but certainly very effective.
And Breihan, his first televised appearance, wouldn't know it. And you talked about him being a little bit nervous last night. He said, I expect to be real nervous on the telecast tomorrow. A lot of players say, we'll see tomorrow. But he said, hey, right up front. Pappas now up in the fifth frame. He's got to get going.
Down 26. Oh, 4-9, the 4-pin, the last to fall, leaving just the 9. Great shot. 4-pin just barely falling out. The reaction from Pappas. Oh, thank you.
You're right. He knows he's still in this match, even though he has 62 through 4 with a spare in the fifth, down 27. So we are midway through. Pappas down by 27, midway through the semifinal match. Dave Sutar, our tournament leader. Pappas, the 97 senior tournament champions winner. Former rookie of the year on the senior circuit.
Better. Much better. And got the friendly roll. The 10-pin, the last to go. Brought a smile to his face.
George Pappas with a strike in the sixth. Still down by 27, but he's got something to work on. Back with more. National